The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Cosmos. Hello and welcome to another episode of Dad vs. Daughter. I'm Tim the Dad.
I'm Megan the Daughter.
Megan, what are we going to review today?
We are reviewing Exit the Game, The Enchanted Forest, and this is from Cosmos.
Yeah, and I say review because we can't really show you a playthrough. This is like an escape room in a box. If you're familiar with the Exit series, and if we did a playthrough, then you would know how to play the game.
Yeah.
The whole thing, all the puzzles and everything. So what we're going to do is we are going to try to be spoiler free and let you know what we think. So here we go. So we have already played a few Exit games on the channel. I think I actually like this one better than the other ones that we've played so far.
This one is kind of cool, yeah. It's very fairy tale themed. You can kind of see from the cover. There's like a wanted poster for like Snow White. There's like a frog prince and all that kind of stuff. And there's like a gingerbread house in the background. So, very fairy tale-ish with all of these.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the reason why I kind of liked it, because I'm very familiar with the fairy tales that are introduced there. Basically, we're going to go into this enchanted forest. We meet these creatures,
Characters, yeah.
And we're going to have these various puzzles to do. And I thought some of the puzzles really weren't that difficult in this one. Down at the bottom, it shows you this is a 2 rating one.
Out of 5.
Now, that's not to say that we didn't have issues with some.
We struggled a couple.
Yeah, because the game does come with a little hint system. So you can, based on the puzzle you're trying to figure out, it's got a little symbol. And there are basically 3 cards that go with each symbol. One is like your first clue that gives you a little bit of information to try to see if you're on the right track or get you there.
Like what items you need and like what you kind of should be focusing on.
Right, and then if that doesn't work, then you can look at the second hint, which kind of really spells things out quite a bit, but it's still a little vague.
Yeah.
And then finally, it does give you kind of a solution to it. Actually, it's not kind of, it is a solution. But every time that you look at a hint card, you get penalized in time.
Yeah.
We played probably, an hour and a half?
Hour and a half game.
But our penalties put us about, I think it was exactly 111 minutes, and we got a 2-star rating.
2 stars.
But there were some puzzles that we figured out actually pretty quick.
But there were some we were totally on the right track. We just didn't have the code in the right order because our brain totally wasn't even thinking about that. We were focused on something else entirely.
Yeah, and they do. The puzzles sometimes are kind of like that, where it's not straightforward, so to speak. And you're going to look at things. Of course, you're going to be flipping over cards, and it's going to tell you, oh, that's not the right code. Or you get, you look at another card and tells you to go to another card and it says, you're not right. But you do know immediately when you are right, because you'll be then taking the next cards in the they call those that red deck.
It's like the event cards.
Yeah. But it'll tell you to take the next ones in sequence. So you're not
riddle cards.
Riddle cards, yes. So you don't have to jump around. But I did think that the puzzles in this were actually pretty cool compared to
there were some
other
really
ones
good
we did.
ones, yeah. And this one, compared to others, I know we've talked about this in other reviews, we didn't tear up the box.
No.
Which I expect it now, because we did in one of them, and now I'm like, okay, I'm looking all around the box, I'm looking at all the artwork, I'm looking underneath the insert and everything, trying to figure out. That was not necessary in this. But you do have to tear some things up, which is why it is a one-off, because you are ripping, you're making marks.
Folding, cutting.
Yeah, you're doing a lot. I was really hesitant about cutting something in here.
And I will say this, sometimes the clue will tell you something and it means literally.
Yes.
You
Don't
look
try to
at
look harder
this. And so sometimes I thought we were overthinking some things.
Yeah.
Also, don't take anything for granted. Just because you're cutting up something, or cutting something out, don't think that you don't need
everything.
The part that you
cut it out
of. Yes, you might need that.
Your scraps. Yeah. So don't throw anything away. You always look everything over really carefully.
Front and back.
Yeah, front and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without giving anything away.
Carefully. like reading, there's a lot of context clues, there's a lot of words that you have to catch.
You want to make sure that you look, what things are bolded, what things, maybe stick out.
Yeah.
But there was one, and I don't want to give it away, but I thought this was a really cool way to do a puzzle, to try to have you figure it out.
I think it's the one I'm thinking of too. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the...
Yes.
Yeah. No, that one was
that
like
one
the
was
best
really
one.
was really nice.
It was really cool. Yeah.
And it was one that we hadn't, had before in one of the exits. Of course, you are expecting to have different puzzles, but
it was cool. I'd never like even thought of that type of puzzle and like this type of game before.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
There was one in here that kind of felt like a little kid thing. I know this one's a little bit more family friendly, but I was like, it made me think of like an old kid's spy book with the, because of like how you have to look at things, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It made me think of that. And I was like, that was really fun. I picked up on that like immediately too.
And the one I said, oh, I remember doing something like this in first grade.
Yeah.
And that one was actually, that was the one we got like just like that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool.
Because there's a lot of wordplay and things like that where you're looking at things, and you do want to make sure you write stuff down, write words down, because a lot of those play into that. But no, I really enjoyed this one.
This one was good.
I was kind of drawn to it because of the artwork. It kind of looked fallish, because it looked like he was holding like a pumpkin, but it's really just kind of like an orb.
But Enchanted Forest can be kind of creepy.
Yeah, and this wasn't. It's not. None of this was spooky at all.
We did that one. The first one we did was like the haunted amusement park.
Yeah, like the roller coaster one.
That one could be a little creepy. But this one, I mean, it was still like not scary. But this one was kind of cool.
Yeah, and this one I think was really good for the family because there are certain things that are in this. Like I said, this is about fairy tales. So I think you will.
It's 10 and up. So I think definitely.
I think even younger kids could play this.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have little issues with trying to figure out some of the puzzles, but I think things are going to be familiar to them.
And you might not be focusing too much on your time.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, the time's not like super crucial. It's not like if you don't get out in an hour, you're dead. Like.
Yeah, and we don't really care really much about the time or what our rating is. We enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, there's times where we've sat down and played a game, for an hour and a half, and it's been like, okay, that was just kind of okay. No, we really enjoyed this.
This was fun. It's a good way to like just sit down. You don't really have to learn a new game. You don't have to like really. I mean, you have to think a lot, but it's not like strategies.
Yeah, and
there's very light brain teasers.
And there's not really big, rule sets in this. It's pretty much you read it. It tells you flip over a card, you read the card, and then you kind of go. This one does use a code wheel that others have used before, which is really easy to operate. And, I thought this one, it was fine.
The code wheel became really important with one of the puzzles.
Yes.
I mean, they're important for all of them, but
we don't
details on
we don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
So let's talk components. I think the components in this were fine. The artwork looked, now granted, this is fairy tale, so they're, coming up with their own artwork. I thought the artwork in the book was fine. And some of it's cute.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I think the extra components that you get with this, I thought were
objects.
Yes, I thought it was really good.
There was an acrylic piece, which was really nice.
Yeah, the card stock is really good.
You even get I don't know, but you get like a little keepsake after this game. That's not too much of a spoiler.
Yeah, you do.
It's cute.
But you'll find that out. But gameplay components. It's all good.
It's all good.
I would recommend this one as a starting one if you're wanting to get into the Exit series because it is fairly easy. Like I said, we did use several clues just because we're like, oh man, we were on the right track. I think on all of them.
We weren't like totally stumped. Like, what do we even do? We were pretty much on it. We're just like, okay, well, what are we missing now?
But we wanted to be fair and ding ourselves for the the hints that we did take. But no, I would highly recommend this.
Yeah, this
like I said,
good.
It's a 2 rating, as I think it goes up to 5.
5, yeah.
So yeah, this one is really good for the family. This would be a really good entry one if you're wanting to get into the Exit series. All right. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. So that is Exit, the Enchanted Forest, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, click that like and subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media like Facebook
and Twitter at DadBeDaughter.
And if you like what we do and you want to support us, you can visit our Patreon page. So thanks for watching.
Thanks.